Welcome, Markus, to the
Hi.
LaunchingIoT interview. Why don't we start with you just introduce yourself and a little bit about your background and how you got into working with IoT.
All right. So I'm Markus, and I'm a software engineer by trade. Studied artificial intelligence at the University of Amsterdam, and worked for a couple of tech companies where I was an engineer. I specifically got into IoT through two different roads. So one is my father is an IoT tinkerer, like loves to build all those kinds of crazy gadgets. And second, I was working for Triggy, which was a startup funded by one of the ex-founders of QB, the NACO tone thermostat, and he wanted to build this kind of like cloud platform that connects all IoT devices together, makes it very, very easy to use for the general public. And I was, I think, engineer number 4 or so on the team, and there so I helped building the whole backend and front end, and really got in contact with all those different IoT devices out there, all those companies and those APIs and what works and what not. And that was kind of like the trigger point where I also started to become interested in the field in general. And right now, I'm my own company that builds IoT and AI solutions.
Yeah, so you formed Life a year ago. So just tell us a little bit about that it's a consultancy, but it's also at the edge of IoT and also artificial intelligence. Maybe just say a little bit about that.
So I founded Life Electronic a year ago because I wanted to do cool projects. That was essentially the main reason, and I wanted to be picky about them. And I soon realized that there's a very interesting field about applying AI to data from the real life. So not only digital data, like, I don't know, ad traffic or whatever, but really measuring real life data and then applying AI to it. So this is where we operate at the moment mostly. So, and mostly with camera images at the moment.
Okay.
And it's a consultancy moving towards a product company, hopefully.
Cool. Okay, so if we take a step back then and just think about what does IoT mean? So everyone I speak to gives me a different kind of definition of IoT or what IoT means to them. Maybe you could just describe what IoT is to you.
Yeah, I think that IoT to me is that more and more stuff becomes to the internet actually, or becomes connected in a way. So yeah, I don't know. It depends really on the subfield that you're looking at. So with consumer electronics, it's about washing machines that are then smart, and you can control the smart. That is often IoT enabled, so you can control it with your smartphone. But then you have also remote sensors like the ones you guys developed, which counts IoT because a sensor that is now connected to the internet, and you have real-time sensor data available through a browser interface. But also cars who are connected to each other while driving next to each other on the highway is also in a way IoT. So for me, it's just all those getting connected and connecting all kinds of things and building this huge network. That is for me, I think IoT is more, yeah.
Well, it's true, because what you talked about there is that it's anything that's connected to the internet, which nowadays can be so many different things. So it's becoming this huge space. But if we then talk about what it takes to really succeed in IoT today, so it's again this kind of solutions for everything everywhere. That's just too much for most. So if you were going to talk to people who are considering investing in IoT or moving into IoT, what do you think you would recommend as kind of things to consider when they are getting started?
Now, I just can talk from my own experience when trying also to launch products and finding investors, but also when playing around with competitor products So for instance, we developed a smart lock a while ago, and the smart lock works very, very well. It works, I think, better than all the others out there. even though it has a quite high price, but that goes with the quality in a way. And we also had interesting investors and stuff like this. But when you then look at the market, for instance, for smart locks, then you see that's quite satisfied market already, and that it didn't appeal to the general public. So there were those really early adopters, the crazy guys, and they used them, but the general public was not really aware. So we did a lot of market testing and seeing, hey, why doesn't it succeed? Or why does not necessarily our solution, all kinds of smart lock solutions. And what you then see is that people say, yeah, because it's still too cumbersome. Because the key already solves a very big problem, namely to open your door in a quite convenient way. It's not very heavy, easy. So people were just, so it was very hard then to communicate the added value of the IoT solution. And the added value is then to be bigger than the perceived negative effects. Right? So, oh, should I have to set up? Oh, what if the Bluetooth goes out? Oh, what is? Oh, God, I have a battery charge. Blah, blah, blah. So there are a lot of negative things. It says my speaker is not working. So you still can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can still hear you fine.
Found that there are a lot of negative things, and then the perceived value, the perceived benefit was not that high. And that also and that was for customer and for consumer electronics. And I also see that sometimes when I talk to businesses and we pitch a certain solution, for instance, then usually the non-connected thing works already well enough, so that the connected thingy is not the benefit that outweighs all the effort or all the investment they have to make. So success, I think, to be successful in space, I think you really need to have a large enough benefit in order to convince the people that this is the benefit. And I think that's quite challenging.
Yeah, no, that it's still extremely high skill or high trust or in order to feel the benefits. So yeah, a really nice insight. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that you can maximize the benefit or minimize the pain, right?
Yeah.
And I think you need to do both at the moment, because the pain of setting it up is really, really high at the moment. There's still so much inconvenience and all those network protocols and all those errors that are always occurring. And I don't know, it's quite challenging, but not unsolvable.
No. Yeah. As Mark says, everything's possible. Okay, so then let's just talk then about more the people side of it and the kind of skills. So I kind of asked what your leadership style, and it was kind of give engineers a whole load of freedom, but also constrain them. Do you want to just talk a little bit more about kind of that style of running a project?
Yeah, yes, I was thinking about it a lot in terms of how I liked. So I was also on leadership. When I started in the company, I had people I had to report to, and I always liked freedom, but I also knew that I need to do my work very well, and that satisfied then the people, and they gave me more freedom, and we had a very good working relationship. And then when I started to get my own, like right now, for instance, life, I have 2 people work for me. I see that I pick them according to how freely my ownership take a project. I think it's really important. I know I can trust, because before I worked for one of as a director, I had also people that I couldn't trust. I knew that I always have to check and not be necessarily lazy or something, but what your work was not. And then of course you cannot. So you need to highly monitor the output of the engineers while not interfering with the actual work. And then when you see that output quality that you agree with, you can give more of, some, can at a certain point in time then completely take the project by themselves. That is.
Yeah, and it's that kind of output performance management that that some people are saying is a nice way to kind of maximize technical projects right now. So it's nice for you to have done it both in how you like to work and now how you manage others.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think you have this control loop. So you have this control loop where you say, okay, you give the input to the people or to the engineer, and then you check the output, and when it differs from what you're expecting, you kind of like adjust the input, like so the requirements, and the more that the person can do that very well and also think for themselves, the longer you can make the loop time. But when you see that someone's really not up to the task, they need to constantly monitor, but that is not nice for anyone. So I try to avoid to work with those people actually. Yeah, and you see that also the junior engineers, of course, need a little bit more guidance, and senior engineers, you can not necessarily, but often give a little bit more freedom and check back in a week or two.
Yeah, and yeah. Trust and self-management is such a big part of that. Okay, and then let me just ask then about what success means to you. So you talked about delivering great products. So yeah, maybe just talk a little bit about kind of what success means to you, especially within an IoT project.
Yeah, I think that I don't know, what I mean with great products is that I'm really sometimes do not understand how companies survive with the gravy shit they put out. And I don't want to be one of those people. So I think that the work that I deliver, that defines how people think about me and my company, right? So I try to deliver high quality work and hope that this then really is, and that people really then appreciate that, right? I think that people will really appreciate that, and then I can get better offers next time. So just delivering high quality work, but delivering something that really is of value, so you can very easily sell people stuff, right, that they don't really need. I'm actually like I was in a position like that a while ago where they just wanted to go on with a certain project in a certain way, and I could get, and I was, you know, they wanted me to do it, but I didn't fit. I thought it was wasted money to do it like that, and so I told them, you know, I would say we do it differently, and that is the less money for me, but I think it's better for my client. And in the end, that was the right decision, I think, even though I made less money in the short term, but the long-term relationship improved. And I think that this also translates to products. And I think that is in a way success. But it should always go a bit hand in hand with really doing something that has meaning in. So it's like IoT, the software that we develop is actually in the real world. And it's just solved in the real world. I think when it's well, then it was successful.
Okay, and then just to finish off, one last question, just a really short, sharp kind of one sentence and answer of, if somebody's coming in to invest in IoT today for their business, what are the kind of top 3 things that they should consider when getting started?
When they want investment.
Like, so if they're starting their own project, what do they need to really think about before they get started?
Yeah, I think that the first thing is, do we really solve a problem that is worth solving? Can we do that? And the second thing is, can we do that with costs reasonable and within our skill set? And I think the last thing is, I think, do we really want to go through with an IoT product? Because like the demands and the bugs, and then you ship 100 and then they break, and then, you know, then you have to take them all back and stuff like this. So it's really painful. So and the long-term maintenance and all this. So you really need to be very sure that you want. I think that's what I will say.
Okay, great.
Skills. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll stop.